Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very exciting review. So many of you have been waiting for this. This is the Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation by Makeup Revolution. You guys know how much I adore the concealers from Makeup Revolution. I'm talking about the Conceal and Define line. And just like the Conceal and Define concealer, Makeup Revolution has come out with their own foundation. The only problem I have with the Makeup Revolution line is going online and ordering your correct shade. If you find your correct match where concealer is concerned and foundation, then you're very lucky. It will work beautifully. If you want to know about the foundation stick, especially for people with extremely dry skin, go check out the Best of Revolution video that I did. Over there I have given you a review of the foundation stick. Now this is their latest one, and all I can tell you is I love the packaging of it. It is very similar to the Conceal and Define, and what I also like about it is Conceal and Define, if you are a big fan of the concealer, then they have supersized it as well, so you can go purchase that. Many complain that this gets over very quickly, but this is around £4, and I think the Conceal and Define concealer is around £8, 7 or 8 pounds, and this is around £9. Anyway, all of the information will be written right here. It will be stamped on the screen. So for £9 you're getting 23 ml of the fluid inside this bottle, which is not bad, you guys. I just love this. Is almost like the standard size of the drugstore foundations that you get. Let me just tell you, this is the foundation that I've applied right now. I'm in the shade 10.5, and let me just tell you what the shade chart says. Okay, so for my shade, for a medium shade, so I was contemplating between F10, which is for medium skin tones with golden undertone. F10.5, which I have worn, is for medium skin tone with warm golden undertone. And F11 was for medium dark skin tone with a peach undertone. So I wasn't very sure whether to get the 10 or the 11, because the Conceal and Define, the 11 that I have of Conceal and Define, that works really well around my eye area, so because of the peach undertone to it. So please make sure you go to the Makeup Revolution site and you see exactly what is the undertones, because they have described it really beautifully. Like F9 has got a peach, F10 has got a golden, so they've explained it really well. So I don't think it should be too confusing for you. I also like the fact that they created the frosted bottle just as it is, without the outer box that would create much more of a damage to the environment with its waste. And I love the fact that it's got this doe foot applicator, and just like the concealer, it has got a thick doe foot applicator, okay, which I'm not a big fan of applying certain things directly onto my face, but you can just put that on the back of your hand and use a sponge also. So it is quite friendly at the same time. I'm not too mad at it. This is a complete full coverage foundation. It is cruelty free, vegan, which is amazing, because usually good foundation comes from L'Oreal and Maybelline, which I miss out on because they are not cruelty free. Right now, after applying the foundation, it looks really lovely, but how is it going to last after a couple of hours? That is going to be really interesting. Let's get started with the proper swatch review and the end verdict. Let's start. Okay, so let's start the testing. I am going to apply half my face with primer and half without, just to see how it will work with and without primer, so it'll be a little more helpful. I've taken the Revolution Pro blur stick, so on this side of the face I'm going to apply this blur stick. And I feel this primer is great for people with dry skin, so fingers crossed. It looks not bad at all. From what I can sense right now, it's very, very creamy, and it looks thick. Alright, and I'm just going to, okay, I haven't dipped my wand into the foundation as of yet. Look at that, and how much comes out of it. Impressive, you guys. I'm now going to put this underneath my eye, because that's where the Conceal and Define concealer will go. Can you bloody see the coverage? Oh my god. So far when I'm touching it, it has that little sticky feel to it. Definitely no fragrance, which I absolutely love. Now, I'm not sure whether it's got that little bit of that creamy, oily finish to it because of the primer that I used underneath. So that is why I haven't touched the primer here. But guys, the coverage, I'm completely shocked, and the color is my perfect match. This side of my face has got a lot more scars, so it'll be interesting to see. I know it looks like a lot of foundation I've just applied. I've never applied so much foundation, but when you're reviewing it, you might as well go completely full throttle. So I'm just going to take my stippling brush from NYX. I think this is number 13 or something. And I'm just going to stipple it. Gone. Scars. Everything is covered. This is a full coverage foundation, guys. You wanted a full coverage foundation from the drugstore that is reasonable, you've got it. The extremely oily skin and the extremely dry can definitely stay away from this foundation, because if you touch this area of my face, it feels like a powder soft matte, like a soft powder matte, so it can showcase all of your dry patches. And if you touch this area, it has got that little bit of that oiliness. Even here, though I've not applied any primer, it has that little oily, tacky feel. So if you have really oily skin, it will protrude a lot more. So mine is somewhere in between. I don't have extremely oily skin. You guys know how this is my favorite concealer. I absolutely love it. Can you see how quickly that melts into the skin? But I can see a little bit of that gray area around my mouth. Very strange. Everywhere else it looks perfect. It looks like my skin. Let's set this with a powder right now, and I'm using my luxury powder from Makeup Revolution in Banana. Oh, if you have clear skin, this is going to give you a full coverage but skin-like kind of a finish. I'm quite liking this. This is not bad. I'm really enjoying this. I like the way that it looks right now on my face. Right now, I don't feel it being too oily because of the setting powder. Alright, just a very simple glam. My makeup is done. Well, not exactly simple for somebody who doesn't like too much of makeup now, is it? Yeah, it has worked really well, you guys, on my face. I don't know, what do you guys think? How is it looking on my face? Do you like the way? Is it looking too yellow? I don't think so. I think it looks really perfect. But I'm not sure if you can see the ashiness out here. It looks pretty fine, guys. Only someone who's really critical about makeup would see the discolorization right here around my mouth area. Otherwise, I don't think so. So what's the time right now? So it's about 2:20 at the moment. And I think 5 to 6 hours should give us enough time to decide whether this foundation is worth the money or not. I mean, there's not much money going into it anyway, because right now it looks bomb. It looks absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I shall see you in 4-5 hours. Right, so it's 2.5 hours since I have worn my foundation. I am going out to the pub, but I just wanted to show you the foundation. It is still looking good, you guys. Can you see that? This is direct sunlight right here, okay? It's just natural light, and this is how it's looking. This is going to be a dream foundation for someone with really beautiful skin. Really beautiful skin. Alright guys, it's nearly 7 o'clock and I think it's time for me to remove this makeup because I hate that cakey feel. Not because of the foundation, mind you. It's just that whenever I apply a lot of foundation, I want to take it off ASAP. Now let's look at this foundation closely. You know what, guys? This isn't bad at all. Yes, my natural oil has completely started seeing through. You can see right over here, this spot, like this T-zone has become really oily. It's funny because it's like a combination of a semi-matte kind of a foundation. Can you see that? It's looking pretty good. Right over here, this area is definitely looking a lot more oilier. So now the positive, 23 ml for about £9, you guys. They're killing it in the affordability range, okay? So there's no complaining there. Positive point number 2, the shade range and the undertone. And come on, you guys, for a drugstore, they have done a pretty darn good job. This is the kind of thing that a big brand like Tarte should have thought of, and this is a small brand doing it. Point number 3 is it works beautifully with the brush as well as with the sponge. I feel with the sponge it works even much more better. The damper the sponge, I think it just melts. The blendability of this foundation is great. Point 4 is depending on what primer you use, I think this foundation can work for your skin. 5th point is, like I said, it's a semi-matte finish, so it's not something that's going to be a complete enemy for extremely dry skin as well as extremely oily skin. It somehow just gives a very soft matte kind of a finish, you know, when it settles onto the skin. It's really nice the way that it looks as soon as you put it on. And even now, after a couple of hours, I can see that very soft matte, excepting for the T-zone area, which has turned out to be oily. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is a combination skin's dream foundation. Sixth point, which is the most important point, this is a full coverage foundation, okay? From the drugstore, I haven't come across a foundation with this much coverage. This is better than the full coverage of L'Oreal, better than the full coverage foundations from Maybelline. This is just excellent. I cannot believe that everything on my face is completely covered. All the scars and, you know, whatever acne marks, my pigmentation, dark circles, everything has been concealed so well. It is conceal and define after all. The seventh point, what I love about this foundation is that it's got no fragrance. And I love a foundation or any makeup product that does not have fragrance. So for people with super sensitive skin, this one would work on your skin really well. And the eighth point, which is the most beautiful part, is that this one is cruelty-free and vegan. Now let's talk about the negative. And point number one is that if you do not find the proper shade and the undertone, it could be putting you in a hot soup because you would get that gray overcast, or it's just not going to work really well on your skin, no matter what kind of a powder or setting powder or blush that you can work along with it. So please make sure that when you are buying it from the site that you're spot on about your undertone. Point two is this is not a foundation that is meant for extreme dry skin or extremely oily skin, okay? Anything between that, like for me, I'm between an oily to a combination and I can still make it work. I can just do a little bit of touch up with a compact powder and it'll still go on really well. But if you have an oil pan of a face, stay away from this. And if you have really dry skin, like dehydrated skin, this is also not for you. The third point is the wand, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not mad at it either, but I don't like a makeup product touching my face directly, only because of hygiene purpose. So anything that's got a sponge applicator or a wand where I have to put directly on my face, I don't like it. So you can just put it on the back of your clean hand and just use your sponge and brush directly from it. My honest opinion is in the drugstore, where Maybelline and L'Oreal is concerned, Maybelline Fit Me is still a winning formulation. Something about that is just a pure shot winner. If you're looking out for a cruelty-free good foundation, then I think you should definitely give this one a shot. But this has more coverage than any drugstore foundation I have ever come across, even more than the Maybelline and the L'Oreal. So because of that, I give this an 8 out of 10. It lost points only because it is kind of like an in-between skin range, you know, like I said, very oily, you can't wear it, very dry, you can't wear it, and if you're in between, oily combination to a slightly dry skin, then you can work with it depending on what primer you put underneath. This is a damn good full coverage foundation from the drugstore, and I think Makeup Revolution has done a great job with it. Guys, and I shall see you when I see you. Bye for now.